well. So, yeah, lots of people behind it.
Yeah, it was fantastic, and it almost looked at some point, I thought, do you want, it's like, I want to finish this race, get out of my way, thank you for coming down, but I need to run.
Yeah, it was everyone was very respectful, and you know, there was only one bloke that grabbed onto me, and we very quickly shut that down, but no, it was good, and we put the gate on and stopped everyone from coming in, so it was great. But, yeah, very well done.
Yeah, fantastic, well done, absolutely amazing. So, you know, 6 weeks or so ago, you set off from Cottesloe Beach. Tell me about a typical day when you've got to run 80 to 100 k's.
Yeah, so it'd be a wake up at like 3:45 to eat some oats, get the food in, because obviously I'm burning so many calories a day, and then it'd be a shuffle, try and warm up to get to the ute to drive to the mark where I finished last night, the night before, and then it would be try and get 20k out by 7:30, at 20k eat, 40k, 60k, 80k, 100k eat. And then, yeah, it would be, you probably start around 5 o'clock, finish around 6:37, so, yeah, it'd be 14-hour days at stage minimum for 100k.
Wow.
But yeah, it was lots of calories burned, lots of shoes burned through, lots of knee pain, lots of body pain, but yeah, it was good to be home.
Yeah, so have you got those sort of figures? How many calories burned? How many pairs of shoes?
Yeah, 10 to 12,000 calories a day, but I couldn't obviously eat that much because it's just, you know, so hard to do so, and so I lost probably about 11 kilos, and pairs of shoes, probably 10 to 12 pairs, as I was, that's around a 50k each pair.
Right. Yeah, I've been advertising the Brockman weight loss program, just run 4,000 k, you lose 11 kilograms, it's incredible.
Absolutely, and eat as much as you like.
You can eat as much as you like during that, yeah. Because even just that, you know, that sort of routine, you've got to try and get that food in and then take off and run again.
Yeah, it's very hard. I got very used to running on a full stomach, but there's nothing comfortable about it. But yeah, it's something I don't have to worry about anymore. I can eat and not have to run.
Actually, yeah, we'll see this fat guy coming down the road go, who's that? That used to be Ned Brockman, people will say. He stopped the running. Any injuries? How did the body go?
Yeah, plenty of injuries. I had pretty severe knee pain before I started, IT band, hips, ankles, tendonitis in the shin, my feet were pretty crooked, but yeah, all off the duck's back now. I'm just able to ice up and rest up.
So what, you keep running through those injuries?
Absolutely, yeah. It's all, the majority was soft tissue, but the ones that were a bit more intense, we had to obviously, I had to get scans, an MRI, and then a cortisone injection, but we got on with it, and pushed through.
I'm assuming with that sort of level of injury, the general advice was, well, you'll need to rest up for a couple of weeks now.
Absolutely, yeah. I was told to get in the boot for 6 weeks, or we could try inject it, get a Dictus band, which basically wraps around your ankle and ties a rubber band to your laces, and it allows my foot to lift up off the floor, because I couldn't actually have that function because it was so inflamed. And yeah, we got it sorted and pushed through the pain for a few days, and finally came good.
Ugh. That's awful. It's something where you should have been in a boot, but you went with that and kept on running.
Exactly, yeah. I had a bigger thing to get done. I didn't want to quit, and I've never quit, so I just said to get the job done.
A bigger thing to get done. What was that? What were you trying to achieve?
I just set out finish what I've set out to do. I don't set out a goal and not want to achieve it, and obviously raise the money, and the closer you get to the finish, the more money you're able to raise, the more people you're able to inspire. So it was just keep fighting each day, and we finally got there.
Can you describe what that is, that kind of drive where you've set such a giant goal? I mean, you're not going to walk-a-thon on a Saturday afternoon. You're going to run 4,000 k, pretty much. You're going to try and raise millions. It's a big goal.
Yeah, it's audacious, but I don't know. I just have this innate desire to be the best version of myself, and you know, I've pushed these barriers before, and it's like, well, what's next? And yeah, being able to succeed in this and get this done was just another tick off the list, and yeah, hopefully in the future we've got some more really cool ideas and things to raise money and get people inspired.
I think do something sitting down next, you know, e-games. You've seen those? They're quite good.
Sure.
Do a week of that. Is this in your background? Is this in your family?
No, it's not. I actually wasn't a runner until 2020. I wouldn't even call myself a runner. I just love trying, and running is one of the hardest things you can do long distance. And I just love, the challenge of, being at the depths of hell and keep going and getting through it. It's something, I don't know, I built this idea of wanting to exactly that, be the best version of myself. And yeah, I guess my mum and dad have always allowed me to, they've always wanted me to do well and go hard at anything I do, not half-ass things. And yeah, I guess it's just slowly built up to become something this large.
So is it something like on day 27, when you've been doing this for ages and there's a long way to go, you're actually quite happy?
Yeah, I wouldn't say happy, but the end goal is much more important than the, only getting to 27. Like, I had all the reason to stop when I got this tendinitis in my shin. Everyone's saying, oh, you'll be right, mate, you've done enough. But I just don't want to be another one of those people that, get halfway through something and go, oh, I've done enough. People are okay with it. I want to be that person that sticks it all the way to the end.
Yeah. Tell us about We Are Mobilised. You raised $1.86 million. And even like on Monday morning, you had about 1.3. And we said, let's all get behind it. We can probably get 200 grand today. Look at that, you got another $500,000 or so.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully we'll hit the 2 million tonight. Hopefully that's the plan.
Yeah.
Definitely get full donate. Recordrun.com. But yeah, it's amazing to see. But this always happens. Stuff like this. People won't donate until the last little bit because they want to see it happen before they donate. But it was cool to see another 1.3 mil come into the last 10 days.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And We Are Mobilised is what? What do they do?
They're a homelessness charity that they're small, like-minded, just wanting to help. They go out the street and actually do hands-on, start conversation, give out food, clothing, and actually see where the help can be made, and enabling to have 1.8 mil, we're going to be able to change a whole lot of people's lives.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely incredible. How are you actually feeling now?
Perfect, mate. I'm high on life.
But the body's okay? Like, could you go for a run today?
Absolutely. I could run 100k today if I was told to, but I don't need to, so I'll keep that at bay.
Oh, what about this, Ned? For every K, we find someone who'll donate $100,000, and Ned runs off, sets off and runs 100k today. Come on, Ned.
Done.
Be fantastic. And ring now. We need $100,000 for every K that Ned's going to run today. Ned, fantastic effort. Great to meet you, and bravo.
Good on you. Thanks, mate.
Need Brockman there. Extraordinary effort of running the nation. The record for running from Perth to Sydney is 43 days, and Ned did it in 46 days and 12 hours. He's the fastest Australian ever to do it. Extraordinary. Cassie McCullough, good morning.
I think we need a Need Brockman-led recovery,
Follow Ned.
Can we just clone him?
Well, the Need Brockman-led recovery is, you don't quit halfway through, mate. You just keep on going.
But he could just have his own channel, on TV where he just talks about, diet, training, psychological strength, reason to give back.
Yeah.
Go forever.
But I suppose, sometimes I think with people like Ned, it's like, they're amazing. I can't do that. I'm a great quitter.
How do you know?
I get halfway through. I know. I've lived this long. I know. I get halfway through. I'm going to quit. He ran with an injury. Here's the injury advice. You need to get into a boot for 6 weeks. He kept running. I mean, come on. I'm in the boot. I am not. Can you figure out a way I can put the shoe back on and keep running? I'm in the boot. Am I in the boot and do I have to keep it up? Yes, you should keep it up. Yeah, fantastic,
Well, I think I'm with you, but we can only sit back and admire with our feet up on the bench.
Good on him. Bravo. Congratulations.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. What are you getting up to?
So many things. Have you heard about this plan to put face recognition with cameras on poker machines?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk to the head of Clubs New South Wales, which is part of the implementation of this. They're doing it voluntarily, or they reckon it's going to work. But there's a few questions, at least in my mind, about how it will work. How does it actually work? What if you're wearing a face mask for whatever reason, will it recognise you? Is it an obvious? Is it a self-policing thing?
Well, because you turn up just with the surgical mask or with the COVID mask,
How
right?
would it know? What if you, I don't know, there's so many questions I have around this, so hopefully he'll be able to answer those. And we'll also hear from Kate Fairman, who's the Greens gambling representative, about what they think of it too. But anyway, I'd be keen to know, do you think this is something that could work? Would it stop you if it worked?
Well, a lot of people say that what might work is like an ID card and a gambling card. You put a certain amount of cash onto it and that's it. You could ask them if that might work. There's that.
We'll see what they think about that. That once floated idea, which seemed to have sunk without
which everyone says will probably work and could help out with that money laundering stuff too. We could see if they're interested in that.
Crazy talk.
Cassie's on after 9. Have a great time with her. I'll see you tomorrow.
Continue the conversation on our Facebook and Instagram pages. News, events, competitions, and behind the scenes. Just go to facebook.com/ABC in Sydney, and our Insta handle is ABC Sydney.
Good morning, Jamelle Wells with ABC News. Flooding continues in parts of the state's west and south, with the focus currently on the Murray River towns of Moama and Echuca. Other areas of concern are Burke on the Darling River, the Macquarie River at Warren, and Lachlan River at Forbes and Condobolin. The SES is working with communities to provide sandbags, help isolated residents, and rescue those who've driven through floodwater. SES volunteers have delivered over 100,000 sandbags to Moama, and they're helping set up a base camp at Deniliquin to accommodate emergency services personnel. The General Manager of Edward River Council wants his community to prepare for more flooding. Council General Manager Phil Stone says the Edward River at Deniliquin could reach the moderate flood level of 7.2 metres later this month.
Prepare for the worst, because it's really difficult for anybody to make a call on what level these rivers are going to get to. So while it might get to a moderate flood, we don't know if that's going to be the peak at this stage, and it can change on a daily basis.
A man found critically injured at Kalara on Sydney's North Shore this morning has died in hospital. Emergency crews were called to Siddons Wharf Road after a truck driver found the man lying on the road around 4:30 a.m. Police say he had a medical episode and his injuries were most likely caused by him falling on the ground. A Catholic priest in Sydney has been stood down over allegations dating back 50 years. Jean Kennedy reports. The priest, Father John Papworth, works as a chaplain at St John Bosco Secondary College in Engadine. The school has sent a letter to students' parents and carers advising them that he's been stood down from public ministry while claims dating back to the 1970s are investigated. However, the ABC understands the unspecified allegations have not yet been referred to police. In a statement, the Catholic Archdiocese of Sydney says every parent has a right to feel their child is safe at school, so it's appropriate that Father Papworth has stood aside and claims from 50 years ago can be fully investigated. The federal government has confirmed new workplace relations legislation will ban pay secrecy clauses so companies can't prevent staff from discussing their salaries. Federal Cabinet has signed off on the bill, which the government says is aimed at helping low-paid workers negotiate higher pay packets and better conditions. Workplace Relations Minister Tony Burke says it will also include commitments Labor made ahead of the May election, as well as ideas from the Jobs and Skills Summit in September. The UK Parliament's been told a senior Chinese diplomat was involved in an ugly altercation with pro-democracy protesters in Manchester. Our Europe correspondent Nick Donnell reports.
The UK government has summoned China's chargé d'affaires to explain Beijing's position. It follows a fight out the front of the consulate in Manchester over the weekend. A group of men emerged from the building and started tearing down protesters' signs. Under parliamentary privilege, British MP Alicia Kearns said Consul General Zheng Xiuan was one of them. She said one protester was even dragged inside the gates for a beating.
We cannot allow the CCP to import their beating of protesters.
China said it was defending its consulate, but the UK government is facing internal pressure to expel those involved.
In rugby league, Kangaroos coach Mal Meninga will hand an international debut to Penrith's Nathan Cleary this weekend. Cleary will replace Daly Cherry Evans at halfback for Australia's second World Cup group match against Scotland on Saturday morning. Cleary says he'll be fulfilling a childhood dream.
You know, it's kind of cliched, but it honestly is. Grew up sort of most of my time in New Zealand, and I was sort of a lone Australian supporter over there, so I think that's where the passion really grew from, and actually be a part of it, yeah, it's pretty amazing, and you know, it's just been a crazy journey so far, and yeah, this is all part of it.
Australia's Alex de Minaur is through to the last 16 of the ATP Tour's Stockholm Open. He advanced with a straight sets win over France's Benjamin Bonzi, 6-3, 6-1. It's his 150th win at tour level. Looking at the weather for New South Wales, widespread storms in the west with possible heavy rain, hail and damaging winds. Scattered showers about parts of the east. Sydney, partly cloudy with a chance of showers, a top of 23 on the coast, 25 in the west. Right now 18 degrees on the coast, 17 in Penrith. Humidity 94%. Tomorrow showers increasing and 23. Friday showers 24.
You're listening to Morning with Cassie McCullough on ABC Radio Sydney.
Hello, good to be with you on ABC Radio Sydney and on the Central Coast. Hello. Now, facial recognition cameras in pokie rooms. As we've been hearing in the news, it's a big change. How will this work? Josh Landis, CEO of Clubs New South Wales, which is behind the idea, will be here to explain, and we'll hear a reaction from Greens MP Kate Fairman, whose portfolio includes gambling reduction. Also, comedian Dan Illick will be here a little later. He's rather hot under the collar. In fact, you could say he's mad as hell about his superannuation fund, not its lacklustre performance, but because he says it's buying up shares in oil and gas companies, exactly the same shares that are being dumped by other super funds that are responding to pressure from members. So what does he think should happen? We'll find out. And later, we're going behind the scenes of one of Sydney's great sandstone institutions, the Australian Museum, and we're going to get a fascinating tale from its history. Not about the skeletons or about, Egyptian sarcophaguses or whatever. We're going to hear the story, the remarkable story of one of the museum's most brilliant scientific curators, a child prodigy who in 1885 was given a job there just before his 13th birthday. And he worked there for all of his relatively short, though extraordinary and sometimes troubled life. That's ahead this morning. That's a fascinating story, I tell you what.
Traffic, ABC Radio Sydney.
But first, let's get some traffic. Jamie Wallace is with us. G'day, Jamie.
G'day, Cassie. Through Bass Hill, heavy traffic for the Hume Highway eastbound. That's following a crash which closed two city-bound lanes. Those lanes have just been reopened, but heavy traffic there both directions. Greystanes, there's a van broken down Great Western Highway at Greystanes Road. Just exercise caution. And still heavy through Baulkham Hills for the M7 due to that truck breakdown inbound just past Abbott Road. And Campbelltown, heavy as well for Narellan Road. That's due to an earlier crash at Kelly Car Road. Looking at the Central Coast and the Pacific Highway slow into Wyong this morning coming south. Wyong Road also looking very heavy northbound through Tuggerah coming up to Reliance Drive. And in terms of public transport, trains, buses and ferries looking pretty good this morning. No major delays, but always best to plan your trip at transportnsw.info and livetraffic.com for the roads.
Good on you. Thanks for that, Jamie.
This is Morning with Cassie McCullough on ABC Radio Sydney.
Yeah, problem gambling and how to combat it is back in the news with the Clubs New South Wales and Australian Hotels Associations getting together. These are the people who run the pubs and clubs in your neighbourhood to announce a rollout of the latest in facial recognition technology. They say this technology will become part of the self-exclusion scheme you may want to join the conversation here. The lines are always open, 1300 222 702, 1300 222 702, or maybe you prefer to text 04679 22702 to tell us more of how this facial recognition technology might work. Josh Landis, the CEO of Clubs New South Wales, is with us. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, Cassie.
Now, just walk us through how this might work. This, firstly, is for people who are self-excluding. They will be registered with you.
That's exactly right. So we have a self-exclusion register that already operates. And the problem is that the venue staff have to remember the faces of those people so that when they turn up, if they turn up and try to enter the venue, then we can identify them and say, look, I'm sorry, you're not supposed to be here. The problem is it's prone to human error. With the best of intentions, we miss those people sometimes. But technology removes those accidents and will ensure that we pick people up even if they're wearing a mask or a hat, and we can have that important, respectful conversation with them, keep them out because they shouldn't be in the venue, and no one else is affected at all. Everyone else goes about their business in the club or pub the normal way.
Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Just say, I go to my local club and I say, listen, I've had some trouble. Can you exclude me? And they say, what?
Well, they would say, absolutely. We sit down, we go through how long you want to be excluded for. We try and get you in with a counselling service to offer you the help and advice and support that you need. Because if you're having that conversation, you have identified that you've got a problem with your gambling and you need a break. Maybe for a short period, maybe for a long period, minimum 6 months. And we want to help you to stop gambling if that's what you want to do. And so the self-exclusion system has been in place for many years. We run it statewide, but you can only exclude from up to venues at the moment. And that's because it's just too hard for those venues to remember all of the people. There's several thousand people on that statewide database for the organization. And so we want to use technology to remove human error so that any venue in the state that you turn up to is going to say, I'm sorry, your deed of self-exclusion, your decision to exclude from gaming venues is still in place and we can't let you in until your period of exclusion is over.
Okay, but I can't even have a drink there? I can't even have a meal or what?
It is open to you to exclude only from gaming areas. So it's very important in regional areas, as you'd expect, where the club probably has the only gym in town. It has the place where you go for weddings and for a whole range of special events. The club is everything in those towns. Very, very important for people to still be able to enjoy the club, but not be allowed to go into the gaming area. It makes it more difficult on our staff. But again, this is where technology can be our ally.
Okay, so they might come up to me if they see me going into a VIP lounge and go, remember, Miss McCullough, you're on the register. So that's how it works now. And they'll escort me back to... Right, okay. So, I've made this request. I'm then photographed, am I?
Absolutely. We need your photograph so that we can identify you on the way in. And there's a great story a club told me that's already using this technology where a person turned up with their sibling's passport and said, this is me. And the staff went, okay, we don't know you, so we guess that's you. We signed the person into the club, but the facial recognition technology picked that person up and said, no, you're actually this other person and you need to not be allowed into the gaming area. So that's how important the technology can be.
I see. So it has to be a pretty good photo then, because if you've had a passport photo taken recently, there's all kinds of rules and exclusions around this, but your staff would take a photo or someone would supply their own? How does that work?
It's a great question. Look, whether the club takes the photo or you supply a photo, the point is we have a photo and that would then go into our central database. The way this technology will work is the venue will not have your photo going forward. It's only our central database. And so there's no risk of privacy breach, there's no risk of your data being used for any other purpose than to identify these self-excluded people. And that's really important. No one will get marketed to, there's no potential for those photos, etc. to be lost. And importantly as well, if you're in a regional area and you're worried that the venue sees your photo at the moment, they have to know who you are so they can pick you out and exclude you. Going forward, no more photos at the venue. So you don't have to worry about that potential privacy issue.
Okay. All right. So let's just say I've done that. I've excluded myself. I've put myself. You've added me to your facial recognition program as a self-excluder. So that's done. But then I sort of changed my mind. A few weeks later, I'm feeling good. I've got a bit of extra cash. I've got a bonus at work or something like that. And I think, oh well, look, damn it, I think I'll just go down and have a bit of a spin. I walk into the pub, I cruise into the gaming recognition, the gaming room. What point am I picked up?
Well, at this point, it depends on the calibre of staff, unfortunately. And so, ideally, at the front door, you would be picked up and asked or advised not to go into the gaming area.
So, a camera as soon as I arrive, a camera as I walk into the venue would recognise me.
That's the plan. It may be that some venues it's only in the gaming area because you can be in the rest of the venue, but we hope that venues will also put it in their front entrances. But it's really going to come down to cost. This is not cheap technology, and the more cameras you have, the more expense. So it's just a matter of trying to identify what's going to be most effective and affordable.
Okay, so is this facial recognition technology a venue-specific register, or does it go across any venue that I might enter that's part of this scheme?
Well, the point is that it will link into the central database. So every single venue that has facial recognition technology will link to the same database, so that you can exclude from every single venue in the state in one go. And whether you go on holidays anywhere around our glorious state, if you try and get into a gaming area while you are meant to be self-excluded, they're going to have a conversation with you.
Okay, so who actually is notified? How